Hi, everyone, and welcome to the 100 Day Project, Day 8. We are in acrylic ink, and I have been teaching back to back this weekend. So it's Sunday. I taught a workshop today, and I taught a workshop yesterday, and pretty tired, but my heart is very, very full. I absolutely love teaching, and I had two amazing groups, different workshops, different groups yesterday and today, and I just it just brings me so much joy. So I thought today I'd do just a really simple sketch. We painted flowers today in a style that I call messy flowers, so I thought it would be appropriate to create this figure with some flowers and a heart on her face because I'm feeling very grateful and just very content, very fulfilled. So I'm going with my go-to indigo, just a really messy sketch. I'm kind of doing a bun. I wear my hair in a bun, so a little bit of a pseudo self-portrait, if you will. And adding a little bit of shadow to the face. The mouth is a little bit off center. I have a tendency to do that. I don't know why. So you'll see me address that in a little bit, but just super simple sketching with the ink bottles in the Rubine Red by Liquitex, the Purple Lake by Rowney, that's the one in the middle, and then the Flame Orange by Rowney. All three colors, which I really love. The leaves I did in the Rowney, I think they call it dark green, but it's phthalo green, essentially, is what that is. So super simple colors, and I'll bring in some brilliant yellow here in a minute. Some really rough shapes for ears. You don't have to add a lot of detail in order for something to read. Our brains are so good at pattern matching that it takes very, very little detail for us to go, oh, those must be her ears, those oddly shaped little parentheses that are on the side of her face. That's what that is. So it's always nice to just not use a lot of detail if you don't have to. Less is more often. This yellow ended up being much brighter than I wanted, and I will tampen that down a little bit with some white. You'll see me pull that back. I just wanted some yellow. Yellow is the color that I associate with my spirit when I think of being in my highest self. The color that comes to me is this golden yellow color, and so that's what that was representing for me. Just being surrounded, being in my truth, being in my spirit. And when I'm teaching, that's what it feels like for me. So that's where that color came from. Adding in a few shadows. You'll notice what I do. So two things. One, I'm moving and working on different parts of the painting to let other parts dry. But when you're working with acrylic ink, and especially when you're sketching like this, your ink is very thick in the places where you make marks. And you need to be careful if you try and soak it up with a paper towel, for example. Sometimes it can leave like a weird mark on the paper. So what I do is I use my brush and I just tap it into those puddles of ink and use them elsewhere in the painting. So instead of me wasting the paint by trying to soak it up with a paper towel, the excess, I'm using my brush to pull it out, and that diminishes the size of the puddle and makes it dry faster. So little tip for you there. Here I'm just adjusting her face. I'm making her nose a little bit wider, adding in that little ball that shows up at the end of our noses. And I need to move her mouth to the left. It doesn't quite line up. So I'll take some white acrylic ink and adjust that a little bit. I'm not too fussy with it today. I'm just kind of going with the energy and the emotion of it for me, which is just feeling content and blissful. That's why her eyes are closed. I don't really have a lot of shadow in her eyes. Don't really have a lot of detail or shadow in general. just keeping it light and loose and as bright as I can. That really reflects the energy that I was feeling today. And that's pretty close to being done. I'm adding just a little bit of white overlay over that yellow. That yellow is super strong. So lightening that up for it to be a bit more of a glow. And I'm trying to pull in some of the indigo that's on her top lip into the center of those flowers, but there isn't quite enough to get. I get a little bit in there, but not quite as much as I'd hoped. And I'm trying to do some little curly cues, but ended up pulling out a brush because there wasn't enough of that ink to load up that glass dip pen. And adding a little more to the center of those flowers, just to darken those up a little bit. And I realized off camera, I added just a little bit to her lip and a little bit of that green around her nose. I thought I had restarted the camera, but apparently I didn't. So that is her for today, a bit of how I'm feeling at the end of a wonderful weekend with 2 days of teaching and doing what I love. And I hope you get to do a little bit of what you love today and every day. Thanks for joining me. Bye.